going. No, it's going. It's going. Hey, what's up, everybody? Abram Gonzalez here with Nikki Magdalena and our amazing guest panel today. Can't wait to introduce these guys to you. We got Brittany down there. Hey, Brittany, what's up?
We're here with our team. Team Have It All.
Yep, and we got Ashley also. Say what's up, Ashley.
Hey, friends. Love you. Good to be here.
Cool. Well, we have like a really neat subject to talk with you guys about today, and share the things that have made a biggest impact in our lives in these different areas, and that's why we're bringing our guests on today, because they've done some really cool stuff in the area of really learning what it takes, and they're going to teach you what they do, because everybody's a little bit different, right? Everybody has a different way. We got Brittany down there. Hey, Brittany, what's up?
Hold on a second. We're here with our team. Team Have It All.
Yeah, and we got Ashley also. Say what's up, Ashley. All right, cool. I was playing it the other page, so I can see who's chatting with us today. So
I'll do that on my computer.
If you're here, comment below. Let us know that you're here. Let us know that you're pumped up, because what we're going to share with you today has the potential to really change the trajectory of your success curve, right? Whether it comes to building an income online, or becoming more successful in your career, or really just developing more intimate relationships with the people around you. That's the stuff that we're here and dedicated to teach you today. And so we're calling this hangout How to Make Friends with Millionaires, Leaders, and Mentors. Right? So all of us here have done that, which is pretty exceptional, I think. And one of the reasons that we were inspired to do this is we were just hanging out earlier this week. Myself, Nikki, I almost called Nikki Brittany, right? Brittany's on the screen, not right here. We were hanging out with some friends on Monday night earlier this week, and when you looked around the room and you took the average income of the people in the room, it was it was easily over 6 figures a year, right? Everybody in the room is an entrepreneur of some form or shape, and what we realized is that just a few years ago, when we would look around the room with the people that we were spending time with, and it's not to knock them or where they are, because a lot of them have transformed and changed their lives since then as well, but when you looked around the room, the caliber of the people that we were hanging out with and where they were headed and the vision that they had was not the same as our vision for the future. And so you probably heard the saying before, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if you look around at the people around you, and everybody's broke, there's a good chance that you are too, right? And if you take the same 5 people and they're all millionaires, I can bet you one thing, and it's that you will be the 6th one. You will be the 6th one should you choose to hang out long enough and see your breakthrough occur. So I knew that you had some things that you were thinking of before we started today that you knew that people are struggling with when it comes to this topic.
Yes.
Why don't you talk about a few of those, and then we'll start diving in and pulling our guests out and getting some of their feedback on what's allowed them to connect with millionaires, leaders, mentors.
Okay, well, first of all, I want to thank everybody who is showing up here today, because they say half of success is just showing up, and whatever that version of success is for you, maybe it's a monetary goal, maybe it's, we call our team Have It All, because we're coaching people into this sort of landscape where it's you can have everything you desire, and you don't have to sacrifice who you are or part of yourself in order to have that. So it's very interesting. I can say that Brittany for sure was a huge inspiration for this call. We went to an event where there were 5 millionaires in the room, and multiple 6-figure income earners. We're one of those. We're a couple of those people, and coming back from the event, it's like I look on Brittany's Facebook wall, and there's all these people that were multiple 6-figure income earners, having a lot of wealth, that were commenting on her stuff, and I really got this sense that she had this really great connection with them. And when you're in a sort of mentorship role, it can be a little bit challenging when people come and join your business in a network marketing model, and you have that role to be their mentor. It's kind of more important than to be their friend, because if you notice, sometimes when you have a friend that gives you advice, and you're like, okay, whatever, and then you have somebody that you pay to get that same advice, you're like, whoa, you won't believe what they just told me, and it's like this light bulb moment. So sometimes when you're in a position of success, or having more wealth than others, and you actually want to empower people, coming from that perspective, it can be a sort of tricky thing of like, who can I be friends with? You know, who would I be compromising actually like empowering them? So, you know, Brittany is actually with us in you know, our business, and you know, I just don't think of, hey, I want to be friends with my teammates off the get-go. You know, so she comes to this event, she networks with all these people. We get invited to this dinner party where there's multiple six-figure income earners, and she's coming to the dinner party. You know, and I was like, this is really freaking cool. You know, so I know she's going to share a bit about how she did that. And I also just want to share that, you know, we know what it's like to be, you know, what they say, broke is a joke, and I know what it's like to really be broke and struggling, and be in that position where, you know, you're learning all this law of attraction stuff.
He's got to pee. I got to let him know. Sorry, our dog. He's got to go.
He's a little puppy, so we're doing our best to like potty train him and stuff. So so yeah, you know, when you're broke and struggling, and you're working on yourself, you're doing this law of attraction stuff, you hear this law of averages thing, you know, like I know when I first heard about it, I was like, you know, that actually makes a lot of sense. You know, if you take the 5 people that you hang out with the most, like if you're really truly honest with yourself, and let's say you averaged out, you know, their income, that's probably close to about where your income is. You know, it's probably like a 98% probability. And so I actually had a friend in my life prior to, you know, being more successful that was a millionaire. But what's interesting is that she didn't tell me for like 2 years. It was like this secretive thing. And, you know, we have these sort of perceptions of like the way that millionaires are. And, you know, one thing I want to say is like, you also want to be clear about the type of millionaire you want to hang out with, because let's be real, you know, there's a lot of projection in the world that like, well, you can be rich, but then you're probably not happy. You know, I put the intention out to meet really positive, successful millionaires that really want to change the world, and that is 99% of the people that I've been meeting who are millionaires. Most of them are happy with their lives. They're happy in their relationships. The way they talk about their spouse is with deep reverence and gratitude. They're actually really, truly creating what I consider like a holistic scale of wealth. You know, it's mind, body, and spirit. You know, so those are the kind of people that I want to connect with. The friend that I had that was a millionaire years back, she didn't have that, so I almost didn't quite get the value. But when I really wanted to transform my financial situation, and I looked around me, and all my friends were broke, and not only broke, but had a lot of drama in their lives. You know, they had a lot of drama in their lives. I was like, you know, I really want to change this, but here's the struggle. One is like, well, where are they? And are they like all on some sort of millionaire's island, you know? And even if I do find out where they are, how will I connect with them? Like how do I connect with these people? And then the other piece that I think a lot of people who are struggling, and maybe, you know, I don't want to say broke, because maybe you're not broke, but maybe you are making 10 grand a month, but you can't really have the lifestyle you want, you know? Maybe you're making 5 grand a month, but you're still incurring debt, you know what I mean? So I forgot where I was going. I got a little distracted by you.
I know, there's a lot of movement going on over here.
Yeah.
The dog had to pee so bad. It was like.
Oh yeah, I'm just talking about like what the thought forms that you may be struggling with if you know, want to sort of shift your stratosphere and who you surround yourself with. I know one thing that I thought is, I don't want to just like use people for their money. I don't want to like become friends with a millionaire just because they're a millionaire. You know? And those are some of the blocks that, you know, we want to address today. And hopefully I address part of that by saying, you know, it's not just, you know, money is energy. Money is energy. I think we'll go into that more, and that will become more illuminated as you hear from Brittany and Ashley. But it's like, even if you don't, maybe you think you have to have a certain amount of money to hang out with a millionaire. What if you just have to be willing to choose the energy of a millionaire, you know, and to receive what they're embodying and what they're being in your reality, and to be willing to kind of have your reality tousled up a little bit, you know, because if you're with somebody that's an entrepreneur, you're hanging out with somebody that's, you know, really like they're going places, you know. First of all, those people will see that in you if you're willing to be that, no matter what you're making, right? But second of all, it's like, oh, I just forgot my point. I'm sorry. I can be a little scatterbrained. And the other piece, I just wanted to get this out of the way, is you may be noticing this big band on my face. And maybe you're wondering if Abram and I had a fight before getting onto this hangout. And you know, you think this might be distracting. What's underneath is going to be way more distracting. And I actually wore this orange shirt, hoping that it is more bright so that you don't focus on this. But honestly, I have like this. I've never had such a. I'm on this cleanse, and like I've never had such an enormous cold sore breakout on my face. And even Abram was like, I was like, should I do this hangout? And you were like, I don't know, sweetie, like, it's pretty, I don't know if people will be able, like, and he's really honest with me, and he's always like, you're beautiful, you're beautiful, and he's like, this is really, it's pretty gnarly.
Well, I said people need you.
People need, but he
so
said
maybe
people,
you just need to get over it.
Yeah, well, you didn't say it like that.
I didn't say it like that.
He just, now you're sounding like, I don't know, funny or something, cocky or something. No, he was really sweet and just said, hey, you know, it's very noticeable, but people need you, so I'm here. And just, again, I want to say Abram's always, like, the guy that's like, no, I don't, like, I could have, like, a big zit. He's like, you are so gorgeous, like, I don't care. It's just that it's like an alien landed on my face or something. I don't know. It's really weird. So I just want to get that. It's like maybe it's the elephant in the room for me. Maybe you don't care. But, you know, sometimes we're on a hangout. You can see my face. And
that's what's going on.
That's what's going on. Hopefully this won't fall off. Because I think you'd be more traumatized by seeing it than like me having this Band-Aid on.
I would say maybe you should stick around and you can see it at the end.
I might at the end like do an unveiling.
But then people might start running before we're done.
I think that's the thing. They would just be like the whole time like, oh my god.
Yeah, we'll keep it under wraps, I guess. Right?
Yeah, we'll keep it under wraps. Yeah.
So cool. One of the things I did want to touch on before we get into like the meat and potatoes. And I know you've already dropped some bombs on people that are, I think, really, really essential that people need to start to get to know. I might have been taking the dog out when you mentioned it, but one of the things I was going to add is it's like, so you said, you know, you got to choose the energy and be the energy of a millionaire if you want to hang out with them.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that's true. That's a huge piece. But the one thing that always came up for me when I began my path to entrepreneurship was like, well, am I really like worthy of hanging out with these people? Like,
do I have anything to offer?
Do I have anything to offer? Because like friendship, right, in any relationship it's a two-way street, right? It's a give and take. Like both people are receiving something from the relationship, otherwise they wouldn't be in it. Now those things aren't always positive. Sometimes they're negative. Sometimes like, you know, you're in a place where you subconsciously want the drama from each other. Hopefully that's not the case with you, but maybe some of your relationships have that, and it's something for you to look at. You know, but what I want to look at here is you do have something of value to the right person, right? Every single person watching right now, and you included, have something special to offer. So maybe you have a good sense of humor.
Yeah. You
know, and that can be enough to get you in good graces or in the guys club or the girls club or whatever, just by being yourself, showing up and telling a few jokes. Mm-hmm. You know, maybe you have a story that's really similar to the person that you're trying to connect with, right? These are different things that you have something to offer. Like people can, when you give something and you enter a relationship looking to contribute to somebody, even if you're just meeting for the first time, whether it's just you showing up or telling a joke or you know, entertaining them in some way, that's valuable too, right? It doesn't mean that you're just going to come in and try to help somebody build their business, you know, a millionaire, right? They may not need the help, but they might need a friend. You know, they might be looking for some support.
Someone has their back. Someone who maybe they're going even bigger and they just want people who really believe in them.
Yeah.
Maybe they want someone who comes from a similar background, you know, and is having some similar struggles that they've overcome or they've gone through, and so they're just really excited to have the opportunity to, you know, assist somebody who, wow, you know, I know what it's like to be you know, cashier. Or I know what it's like to, you know, go work this kind of job or be in this industry, and now you're in it, and you want to change it. Man, I know how to help you. I know how to help you.
Yeah.
Maybe you're somebody that's truly willing to listen and implement advice, which I think, you know, most millionaires, and, you know, we're at six figures, you even really start to get clear on the kind of person it's an instinctual thing. You just know if that person is truly you know, grateful and receptive to what you have to say, and they're willing to implement the advice that you're giving.
Yeah.
You know, because really, you know, you get to a certain point where you just, you're like, well, I can't help those people who aren't willing to help themselves. Like, you're just going to kind of weed through all those people, and you're going to want to really pour your energy into those who are truly ready to choose. You know, and in a very interesting, you could call it fortunate or unfortunate, at least right now, the way the planet is, there's not, percentage-wise, there's not that many people who are truly ready and willing to choose to step up to that level and to just step up to the next level, to step out of, you know, the struggle reality, the victim reality, and truly go for empowerment. Because it is a, I don't want to say it's a painful process, but it's like a butterfly coming out of a cocoon. It can be an intense process. We're in this culture of convenience that we just want to push a button and everything's going to be okay, you know, and we've been sort of programmed to be that way, and that's why we have to undo that from within. And of course, again, being surrounded with people who have already done that, it just starts to kind of unlock in your reality if you're willing for it to do that. So I want to jump to Brittany. Brittany, I'm not sure if you just want to talk for a little bit. I almost want to I'm tempted to blast you with questions because I'm like, I want to know this, I want to know this, I want to know this, and I actually feel like I can learn from you on this level. I think that you're an intimate connector. You know, there's these people who have sort of, you look in the room and you sort of see they're like they have this like charm and they just talk up everybody. But the sense I get from you, and tell me if I'm wrong, is that you just kind of observe the room and then you're like, that person, that person, that person, that person, and then you go and you create this intimate and deep connection.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes, it is. Yeah. And I don't even look at it that way as that process, but I'm very much an observer.
Yes.
And you know, we're not all supposed to like and get along and resonate with everyone. So I follow my energy, my instincts, and if there's someone that there's just something there, you know, it's a matter of choosing who you think you might resonate with, and they might resonate back. But you don't have to aim for everyone. You know, not everyone's gonna like you, not everyone's gonna resonate with you. So, you know, pick and choose, pick a couple.
Yeah. So one thing really quick too is, Brittany, why don't you tell people a little bit about you, your background and stuff, and then about your experience going to the Seattle event with Empower Network last month, because we both saw so much magic occur for you there, and then obviously in the last month since then. So like, it's like she's got all these leaders rallying behind her, you know, and really cheering her on, and you know, not everybody gets that. Not everybody gets that, but I think everybody can. Maybe not everybody. I think everybody's capable. Obviously, you can't have. They're not going to be giving 1,000 people the same attention that they're giving you. They just don't have that time. But you know, we've got enough people. I think everybody on this hangout can do it, Brittany. So yeah, tell us a little bit about your background and speak to that what Abram just said.
Yeah, absolutely. So, for those of you that don't know my story, I've been with Empower Network for a few months now, just getting started, you know, just now really getting into things. But in my past life, I'm a corporate consultant. I've done that my entire career. I had a lot of success in it, but I just wasn't fulfilled. And my last client actually ended March 2nd, and I was, you know, looking for my next project, trying to figure out what was next, and it just felt so heavy. It actually hurt and it saddened me, and I had to listen to that within me, and I just said, you know, I can't do this anymore. I'm very grateful for the success that I've had in my consulting career in corporate America, but it doesn't serve me anymore. It doesn't serve the vision that I had. So, I mean, I'm brand new. I still consider myself that way. I'm just getting started, really getting into the meat of things. You know, we're told to, you know, go to the events. You have to get to the events. And at first I had so much resistance. I was like, well, you know, crap, I got all these products. I'm really digging into stuff. I don't know if I want to spend the money and the time going to this event. I want to focus on what I have already. I'm so overwhelmed already. I need to just focus on this stuff. But then I said, you know, if I'm really committed to what I'm building in my life, they say you have to get to the events. You know, Abram and Nikki always encourage us to do that. And I just did. I said, you know, I have to listen to what they're saying. They are where I want to be. This is what they do. I need to be doing this. So I went to Seattle. and it changed my life in every way, in every capacity, personally, business, my relationship with myself, in every way. It changed everything for me. I have a couple of specifics that I'd like to get into, Abram, if that's okay, of like what I did and my mindset kind of at the event, if that's cool with you guys. Cool. Okay, so I have a couple of notes here because this is important. You know, like I said, I'm someone that's just starting out. I don't have nearly the results that Nikki and Abram and even Ashley have. I'm just digging in. So I have a couple notes. I want to make sure I cover a few things. You know, this is a whole new industry for me. Not gonna lie, I am, like I said, just learning what I'm doing here. So I went to Seattle with the mindset of I need to learn as much as I can, meet as many people as I can. Let's dig in. Like I'm here to play the game. I think that's one of the things that we have to be willing and committed to do is we can't sit on the sidelines. Like, what are you waiting for? You know, you can't sit on the sidelines. You have to be willing to play in the game. Like, just get in. And it's going to be really uncomfortable and really scary. But, you know, what else? What are we here for? We're here to play the game. So that's the mentality that I went in with. I started, so this is an interesting story. So I started, we had a like a mixer on the first night, and you know Dave Wood was out there. For those of you who don't know who David Wood is, he is an incredible entrepreneur, innovator, visionary, an incredible man. If you haven't connected with him, you definitely need to do that. People were introducing themselves to him, and I was standing around, you know, waiting to. All I wanted to do was shake his hand and just say hi, thanks. My name's Brittany. Glad to be here, in and out. I thought that would be enough for me to kind of step up and show up and take some action. Well, I'm standing there, and Paul Gardner is next to me. If you guys don't know who Paul Gardner is, another incredible individual who has had ridiculous success in what he's doing. And he said, you know, hey, are you going to do a video with Dave Wood? And I was like, no, what are you talking about? And he said, well, everyone who meets him, like, you have to do a video and you have to, you know, state your intention with him because it's a really powerful thing. You have to do it. And Paul Gardner is also someone that I want to be like, you know, and have the kind of success and that he's having in his business in mind. So I just said, okay, I guess I'm going to make a video with Dave Wood. And Paul Gardner is actually the one that shot the video. I don't know if you guys have seen my cheesy little income declaration video that I did with him. It's on my YouTube. But Paul Gardner actually videotaped that. And since then, Paul and I talk weekly. He is actually in Dallas right now, and he invited me to an event with Lawrence Tam, Angela Moore. Paul is there, and he invited me to go. Kind of wish I was there. No offense to you all. I'm happy to be here, but I should have made that happen. So next time I definitely will. But yeah, that was one example. And he because I listened to him right away. You know, I didn't resist. I didn't say I don't want to make that video. What are you talking about? I'm not here for that. I listened to him. I just said okay, and he was really receptive to that. I think because a lot of people have resistance and they make excuses. And don't get me wrong, it was incredibly uncomfortable, but that's the only way we push ourselves is to get past those kind of things. I have a couple other examples of what I did in Seattle. So I mentioned Angela Moore. She was on stage. She's incredible. You know, as a woman, you know, I really related to her and to what she's doing. It was really great to see a woman up on stage speaking, and I resonated a lot with just her energy and what she was doing. So I took a break from the day. I went to the restroom, and she was coming out of the restroom. And I just said, oh, hey, you know, it was good to see you up on stage. You know, thanks for your contribution, whatever. And I knew that she lived in Fort Collins, Colorado. And that's actually where I went to school. And also my last corporate client was up in Fort Collins, Colorado. So I said, oh, you know, hey, you live in Fort Collins. That's so cool. Like, I live in Denver, and I went to school there and whatever. And we just started chopping it up in the bathroom for like 20 minutes about Fort Collins and where she lives. And I ended up finding out that she lives right across the street from my old client. So that was a really awesome thing. She was there with us this past Monday night and got to know her even more. In Seattle, I actually had dinner. Get this, you guys are gonna like, think this is awesome. Abram and Nikki know this, but I had dinner with Paulo Barroso. And if you guys don't know who he is doing also incredible things. He's earned almost $500,000 in about 14 months. And income disclosure, you know, not everyone has those kinds of results, but when you work hard and you take action and you do the things that other leaders are telling you to do, it's absolutely possible. And at that dinner, there was Miles Seeger and his wife Sonia and all these other people, and I'm always like, oh my gosh, I'm having dinner with like all these people, and I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm faking it till I make it. And I think the biggest thing was just me showing up as I am. You know, as Abram was saying, that you have to know your worth and the value that you bring. We all have it. We all do. And that's what I did. You know, I wasn't really talking to these people about Empower Network, which is the group that, you know, we're all affiliates for. I was just treating them as people because that's what they are. I think one of the biggest hang-ups that we have as humans is we put people on pedestals. And therefore, you know, they're up here and we're down here and we want to be here, but that these people have challenges too. They have heartaches too. They have pain. They have struggle. They have joy. They have triumphs. They have all these things, and they're just like us. And when we get to that level and we can really just be ourselves and put all that stuff aside, that's really how I'm cultivating these relationships and these connections and these, you know, mentors in my life and my business, is just being me and showing up as me and realizing that they are just like me. And the more I get to know them, the more I realize that too.
And Brittany, I just have to say that awareness and that sort of sense as you're interacting with them, like they have, you know, it's like we have heartaches, we have all those things. Mm-hmm. We're just playing in a different playing field. You know, we've made some choices that other people haven't made when it comes to our financial reality, but it doesn't make us different. And it's amazing how that actually helps you create more wealth in your life. Because when you put people on pedestals, not only are you separating yourself from them, but you're separating yourself from the abundance and prosperity that they've created. Right. And I think the best relationship, at most, you're going to have the kind of relationship with them where you're a fan. You're a raving fan, you know, which stands for fanatic. And it's like, I'm grateful for our fans, you know, but, you know, it's like when somebody comes up to us and they're like, oh my God, I saw you on stage. I said to tell you you're amazing. You know, I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that praise and that acknowledgement. But I'm not going to take somebody like that to dinner.
Right.
I'm not going to take somebody like that to dinner. So I know you may have more notes, but can I just ask a couple more questions and dig into some specifics about what some of the things that you just said?
Absolutely. And I do have a challenge for everyone listening. So love to answer your questions, and I want to kind of pose a challenge for our folks on that.
Yeah.
Yes, I love it. I love it. And yeah, okay, so
let's let her do the challenge.
Oh, wait, questions first and then challenge?
Whatever you guys, sure, questions first, then challenge.
Okay, because that's a good open loop. We're going to say there's a challenge coming. It's going to be really amazing. It's going to change your whole reality if you do it. So stick around. We're going to get there in a few minutes. Okay, so can you take us? Because here's the interesting thing is I think sometimes what comes so easily for us, it's so matter of fact for us. We're just kind of like, yeah, you just kind of do. You're just kind of like this, and it's like that, and you can go do it. And the person's like, there's still people going, but how? Like what? Like. So I know if we can just give people, not like a script per se, but maybe just a little bit, like I know one thing that stood out to me is that you created rapport that wasn't based on just, you acknowledged their speech, okay, some of the speakers you walked up to, hey, that was great, da-da-da. I noticed you were from Fort Collins. You're actually saying to them without saying it, I actually was listening to your talk, and I'm from there too. Obviously, you're not going to be from the same town as everybody. But, you know, by finding that commonality, it opened up a whole new doorway. So if you can find that with somebody, that's a huge opening. Like if it's like, hey, hey, you have 2 kids? I've got 2 little ones too. And you might end up talking about your kids. Or, hey, you know, like I had some people that were like, I really loved your talk. I'm really into the energy of stuff. I studied this kind of modality, or I did this, and we talk about like more like consciousness type stuff, and it was really cool, and those people stand out to me more. So can you give us like maybe also just some more details of like how do you get past just the handshake and go beyond that and extend that connection beyond an event like that? How do you go? And by the way, you know, this is our team hangout, and we are talking about you know, Empower Network events and stuff like that. But this, you can apply this stuff to any business, anywhere you go. I mean, really, you can apply it anywhere. So what was my question? It was just, yeah, can you give some more specifics on how you get past the whole nice to meet you, that was great, kind of a little small talk, and extend the invitation beyond the event? You know, like Paul, hey, that you know, he did that whole thing with you, and then like, how have you guys maintained like sort of interaction? And maybe, I don't know how much detail you want to share, but I am curious, like, you know, is it like you guys are kind of pinging, you know, every other day on Facebook a sentence or two? Is he actually, you know, are you guys like talking, you know, doing like, he's doing a little mentoring for you? Like, how has it extended? And just in general, can you share like how you go beyond that first kind of, okay, that was great.
Absolutely. Yeah. We start with the first part of that, which is, I mean, how do you even, you know, have that first conversation? You see someone in the restroom and they're washing their hands, and you're like, this is an opportunity. What am I going to do? For me, I have that feeling, and it's just about kind of pausing, like stopping, like, let me take a minute. Let me think about this. Like, what would I want to hear? That's a lot of the things that I come back to is, you know, what would, if I were in her shoes, what would resonate for me? And the Fort Collins thing came up. So it's having that awareness, thinking about how can, because as Abram mentioned, it has to be a mutually beneficial relationship, right? I mean, think about someone in your life who's maybe asked you for something or a favor, or been, you know, admired you and just says, oh my gosh, you're great. And you're like, you know, grateful for that, thank you, but there's nothing to respond to. There's nothing to give back to in that, and have that back and forth kind of dynamic in relationships. So my first suggestion would just say, if you know, see someone, and this is at an event, I actually, as part of the challenge, I'll give you some other tips with regards to social media, but just take a moment, you know, think about what would you want to hear, what's going to resonate for them, because it's not just about you. You might feel all of this stuff, but what's gonna get them to pay attention to you? With regards to Paul Gardner, you know, after we made this, you know, that video, he shot that. We had a couple more days left of the event in Seattle, so if I would see him around, I'd be like, hey, you know, I posted that video, or after he posted the video, he kept making a joke about how I looked like an elephant. I know that's weird. The whole point behind that was, if you tell someone, hey, you look like an elephant, you look like an elephant, you look like an elephant, they're going to think that they look like an elephant. Full psychology he was trying to pull on me behind that. But out in the hall, and I was like, yeah, hey, you look like an elephant today, or whatever, just kind of, you know, poking fun at him, having fun. And he became invested in what I was doing because of just the energy that I was bringing. So he actually sat me down for about 10 minutes one of those days, and he was like, show me what you're doing. You know, I want to show me what you're doing in your business, and let's talk through some things. And he was giving me feedback and tips, and I was listening to what he was saying and taking his advice. Again, if Paul Gardner is going to tell me what to do, I am definitely going to take notes and listen to what he says. Someone else, for example, Miles Seeger. So he's someone that I connected with there as well. In terms of our interactions, you know, we mostly use Facebook, right? Sometimes it's just like, hey, how's your business going, Miles? Or like, what are you focused on, Miles? Or liking and commenting on his posts, because as you know, if you are into social media marketing, Facebook has all these algorithms, and when you comment or when you do these certain things on people's posts, it brings them to the top. So I know that if I'm contributing to what he's doing, he's going to appreciate that and respect that. Let's see, Paul Gardner and I, yeah, we talk probably once or twice a week. Sometimes it is just joking around about, you know, poking fun at each other for something, because that's kind of his personality. If you know him, he's kind of a smart ass and does that stuff. But sometimes it really is questions about, how did he get, this many numbers on this kind of thing. Sometimes it is specifics, but usually I'm not asking those kinds of questions. I'm more so interested in the connection and the dynamics between them. So I guess, to be honest, not to blab on, but I'm not asking them too much about tips and masterminding and that kind of thing. I'm more so focused on just really building relationships with these people, because the more that I do that, the more they are invested in me, and they might reach out and say, hey, how is your business going, or how are you doing this, or make sure you focus on this. They throw that information out to me. I don't seek it from them.
Yep.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. And another quick question I had is and maybe it's a slight variation of what you already said, but how do you get past maybe some of the social awkwardness? Because I know, sometimes you're, maybe it's the basics of how do you start a conversation, but and I know you can't I think examples are great. The examples that you've given are really powerful, and it's I know, for example, hey, I mean, I've been at a dinner with very successful people, and there were times I felt awkward. I'm I don't even know what questions to ask them right now. What's your favorite color? You don't want to be cheesy. You know what I mean? So it's do you kind of research a little bit? Do you kind of scope them out a little on Facebook and see pictures of their family, and then kind of find things that you can bring up, or what kind of stuff? You're at that dinner. It's how did you not just be the wallflower and really make sure that you were somebody that people remembered? What kinds of questions were you asking?
Yeah. For me, this is funny that this is coming up. So believe it or not, I am actually a bit of an introvert.
Here, that's the thing. I'm hardcore introvert over here.
Yeah, I'm pretty shy. I struggle. I can be super awkward sometimes. Oh my gosh. But so I do observe. I observe a lot. I have to feel a situation out. So my point to this is really being yourself. Don't feel like you have to jump in and just say something to say something. Do what works for you. If you, like Abram was saying, if you make jokes, crack a joke. If you know a lot of data and facts or whatever, throw something like that out there. Just be you is my point. So I observe personally. I observe. Nikki, you were talking with a woman about, the cleanse you're doing, and I was actually kind of standing back a little bit, just chilling, drinking some water, and then you and I got into some conversations about that later because I was observing and I resonated with that. Mm-hmm. So it's about, for me, it's about observing and just picking up the little nuggets that resonate, and then I do think about it strategically. If I want to approach someone, it's oh yeah, they said this, and that resonated with me. And as long as I'm being genuine and honest, that's what they're going to feel. If they had said something, maybe Nikki, you and this woman were talking about spaceships, I don't know, and maybe I don't really care about spaceships, but I felt I needed to talk to you about spaceships. That energy is going to come across, and you're not going to really, you might chat it up with me about that, but it's about picking the things that actually resonate with me so that I can come from the heart when I'm actually speaking with you or whomever. So, did that kind of answer your question? I just observe.
Seriously, I just feel like you kind of gave us the secret. That kind of opened up a whole new world for a lot of people. I know it just did for me. I'll be honest, because I'm an introvert too, mm-hmm. and being an introvert, you don't want to be, you don't want anything to feel forced. Mm-hmm. The advantage of an introvert is that if you're willing to be yourself, you draw people to you. In sort of you can create this pull where it's in a magnetic sort of way, and that's really powerful. And I think that's really beautiful too. So I have found that as well, But I've also been situated. I'm at the dinner party and I'm just observing. I don't really say much of anything. So then I'm I just walk away feeling a little bit awkward. You know what I mean? So I think what you shared was so brilliant about kind of listening to people's conversations a little bit. Not just jumping in so that you can prove that you can be part of the game or part of the social scenario, mm-hmm. but jumping in when it resonates with you. So it's so cool because I got to experience your strategy, and it worked because I felt more connected to you, and I could feel your genuineness, And you know, I was like, yeah, it'd be great to see Brittany again. You know what I mean? Like I didn't feel any weirdness or anything like that. So, Abram, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, well, I mean, it reminds me a lot about this book keeps coming up over and over the last few days. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And the one big takeaway that I got from what Brittany was talking about was, you notice how little she talked to people about business, and how much she made it back to like the personal aspects of like, hey, like where do you live? Like, what do you do for fun? What are you into? What are you passionate about? Like those are some of the things that people will talk all day about, and it's one of the easiest ways to connect with folks. You know, besides business, because a lot of people like to keep business and personal kind of like separate, or they don't feel comfortable talking about business until they feel like more connected.
It's like in Japan. Actually, in Japan, you have to go and have sake, and like kind of get drunk with everybody on sake before you even talk about business. And if you try to talk about business before you've had sake, and they say I trust you, that it is deeply offensive. You know, and that's kind of an extreme version, but I think all across the board around the world, you kind of have that. You know, you have this like in America, there's a lot of sort of unspoken sort of etiquettes. And I think that we're touching on those here. You know, it's just the best way to kind of leverage whatever connections you're making. Now, I totally get not a whole new world's open up for when I'm, and for all of us, we're in social situations, having dinners. Now you're at an event, you meet Paolo, you go, I love what you're doing, nice to meet you. What's your next sentence? Like, how did you guys take the step further for a connection? Like, I'd love to go to Portugal someday, or what is it?
Yeah. Maybe asking a question. You know, I don't know the specific questions, but when he spoke, he mentioned 3 books that he read. And I think I said something like, so, hey, you mentioned those 3 books. Like, which one was your favorite, and like, why? Like, what impact did that have on you? And when someone can talk about themselves, like, everybody loves that, right? So then he's talking about the book that he loved, and I said, oh, that's really interesting. Hey, have you ever read this book? And he said, oh, my gosh, yeah, I've read that book. I loved that book.
Yeah.
Kind of flows. It is about strategy. You really have to kind of know it's about the other person. It's about being mutually beneficial. It's about being yourself, and just taking a moment to really center yourself and figure out, what do you want to say and how do you want to say it.
I think what you're doing, Brittany, is you're saying it's about strategy. The strategy is the sort of means to create resonance. And when you can create resonance, then you have this relationship that is creative by nature and expansive by nature.
Yeah.
Not contractive, weird drama, or whatever that is. And that's the kind of relationships that I think most of us deep down inside want to have.
Yeah.
So I think what you're sharing is brilliant. You guys, if you're getting like enormous value from what Brittany is sharing right now, I want you guys to post in our chat roll, because today is our first day using this chat roll. We want to see if it works, and also we're doing our best to get people to participate, because I know when you can participate, then you're like more engaged, more present. So let us know, guys, in the chat roll on the page here.
Yeah.
What you think of this hangout? Maybe what's your biggest aha moment here?
Well, I have an even better one.
Yeah.
So if you guys have another question for Brittany,
okay. Yeah, if you have another question for her,
post it down there. Brittany, I want to be able to have you throw your challenge down, and then bring Ashley out for a little bit too, and pick his brain about some stuff too. So what's the challenge?
Yeah. So here we go. You guys ready?
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
I'm gonna do this too, and Abram and Nikiar and Ashley, and everyone's gonna do this. It's fun.
Shit, we're committed, and you haven't even told us yet. I'm so scared.
I'm so scared.
All right, here we go. I do want to give a couple of quick examples as well. I want to be very mindful, because I know Ashley's got some really awesome stuff to come up. But I know we've talked a lot about events in Seattle, and those are incredibly important. But then, what about after, right? Yeah. Like, how do you keep that going? So in this challenge, a couple of things here. So I want you to pick 5 people that you admire. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And pick people that are reachable. Don't go pick Oprah or the CEO of Starbucks or Elon Musk. If you don't know who he is, he's a cool dude. But don't go pick these people.
Mark Zuckerberg.
Probably not, because you want people that you can actually, access.
They don't have like an army of people trying to keep people out.
Right. And then what I want you to do is send them a message. a personal message, either Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever their means is. And again, these are going to be some social media references because it's an incredibly powerful tool. Send them a message. And in that, don't just say like, hey, you're awesome, love ya, thanks, cool. Make it very direct. Say, your XYZ really had an impact on me in XYZ way. Like, let them know specifically what that meant. And all you're really doing is just kind of showing them that you exist at this point. Probably don't expect too much back from them. Maybe sometimes not anything. But that personal message will get them to be like, oh, this is this person. And if you want to throw in a witty comment at the end or whatever, you can do that. So once you've got your 5 people and you send them a message, let's see. What I do is comment on something. Like if someone writes an article or has a post or says something that's really profound and resonates with you, comment on that. And when you comment, so here's some strategy in here too. Don't just say, that was a really great article. Like, thank you so much for that post. Like, that's not going to get people's attention. Quick example here. Tracy Walker is also part of the group that we're a part of, and she wasn't at Seattle, so I haven't met this woman yet. And she was on a call, and she gave this tip about Post-its, about how all over her home she has these Post-its because you only have certain slots in your brain, and when you don't there's too much going on in there, you can't focus, you're not productive. So she would write every little thought, every little to-do on a Post-it and have them all over her home. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's me. I need to do this. So I took out my Post-its, posted them all over my house, and what I did is commented on her post and said, hey Tracy, my whole bathroom mirror is covered in Post-its, and I would probably have done more, but my pad ran out. So thanks so much for your inspiration. I made it very relevant as to what I was doing, and I didn't just go and comment on anything because I felt like I needed to or wanted to. That's really what resonated with me. So with these 5 people, kind of follow them, check them out, see what they're doing, and when something resonates, bring your authentic you in a way that will get them to respond. You don't have to, just say something witty to say whatever's witty. Like, be you. Bring what you have to the table. And if you don't know what those things are, I highly recommend you ask your friends or your family or your loved ones, because that's the key. That's the ticket. That's the you that you bring. And then it's just about creating and supporting. And what I would like for you to do is, some of these 5 people, they might not even respond. And that's to be expected. There are people that I have reached out to, other leaders within Empower Network, and they have not given me the time of day, and they don't care, and that's okay. That's definitely okay, but I still put myself out there. So that's really the whole challenge, is pick these 5 people and put yourself out there. Get uncomfortable, and get rejected, and then also see what relationships you can cultivate. And if it's cool, I want you guys to message me. Find me on Facebook or LinkedIn or Google Plus or wherever. I'm mostly on Facebook, and let me know like if you have some successes. If there's someone that you really admire and you start cultivating something, or they like one of your posts, or go check out your blog or whatever. Like, how cool is that? So let me know, like, what successes that you have that come along. I'd be really excited to hear how it goes. So,
cool.
That's awesome. I'm
Challenge
down for
accepted.
That. Challenge accepted. I think that's so cool. And one of the things that I did just want to say really quick is that, we were talking about this, Brittany, how like this would not have happened in a huge, like the Empower Network events. They. For a while they were doing these nationals, and I don't think you were around for that, and then they started doing these regionals and breaking up the events, and so they became these, instead of like 5,000 or 6,000 people in a stadium, kind of, huge auditorium or theater, it became 600 people, 800 people. And we actually love those events. They're really intimate, but they are going to stop doing those, at least for a while. Just to kind of because it actually scattered people up. From a business standpoint, it wasn't really working from the company standpoint. So New Orleans is really the last of the regionals, potentially the last ever.
Well, Charlotte's after that too.
Oh, I'm sorry, and Charlotte is these last 2. I apologize for that. Because I know I'm not going to Charlotte. I just keep thinking New Orleans. But these 2 next regionals are the last 2 regionals where you can really connect with these leaders on this level. Because I'll tell you what. I've been to some of the bigger events where you know, like Justin Renjo, who's another millionaire in Empower, he had a cutout cardboard of him because in the last event he was just getting so mauled, you know, and we've already been in a situation where in Miami, I mean, it wasn't even that big, but we were on stage and people actually like kind of like mauled us afterwards. And you know, there was one event where some of the leaders had bodyguards, so they just you can't, when you're a leader in these events, your attention is divided, and you're trying to make this connection while like 20, 30 people are waiting, and like their energy's like me, I want to talk to you, I want to talk to you, I want to talk to you. So can you just speak to that really quick, Brittany, just about just like that sense that you got from, because I think some people have been like, regionals, whatever, they're not like the big deal, but like, do you think you would have been able to create the same scenario and all these people, all these leaders that you're friends with now, if it was a 5,000 person event?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No. I'm going to New Orleans too, and I'm going to go to Charlotte too, for a variety of reasons. The cool thing is about the regionals is different leaders are at the different events, right? So I might have the opportunity to meet Florence Tam and Rhonda Swan. I'm super excited to try to meet her in New Orleans. So because there are different people at these events, and I mean the way I met Paulo Barroso is he was sitting in the lobby in the hotel just answering some emails, and I was going to get a hot tea because I was cold. And I was like, oh, this is my shot. He's here all alone. Angela Moore is in the bathroom by herself. This is my shot. You know, these people are accessible. It's a small, intimate group. Like 500 and 600 people is still a ton, but it's a small, intimate group, and it makes it just kind of feels like everyone's just hanging out, and it's incredible. Again, Seattle has changed my life, guys, in every single way, and so I will not be missing New Orleans or Charlotte or even the you know, the quarterly events. Like, it's just the people, the things you learn, the content. My life has done a whole 180 because of Seattle, because I chose to show up and because I chose to go to Seattle. And New Orleans is only a week away, and you still have time to go. It's literally just a choice and just a decision to choose to show up for something like that.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yep. Yep. So hey, if you're on our team, you're here, you're watching the hangout, you need to get your ticket. You need to stop listening to other people that are saying, well, it's just regionals, I don't know if I should go. I'm gonna wait till nationals. It's like, 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 come on, like the magic happens.
Cheating yourself out of having the like incredible friendships and millionaires like paying attention to you.
Well, that's where leaders show up, and that's where you meet millionaires and people that are ready to sow seeds into you because they see that you're there too. They see that you really do care about your own vision and your direction, that you care, that you're there, you're ready to fight for your dreams, because most people don't show up, you know. And it's like whenever we go to events, you know, being recognized as part of the leadership team at Empower, you know, we're there for everybody else, right? We're there for you when you show up. So it's like if you're on the team, make sure you're there. If you're not yet, you can click the button below this link or below this video. Right, click the join button. Get started now, right? And tickets are like $150 for a full weekend event. It's crazy. It's crazy. You can meet all these leaders. You know, one of my favorite sayings is with a rising tide lifts all boats. You know, and it's like you got to put your boat in the harbor, dude. Right? You got to get to these events so like everybody else can vibrationally raise you up at the same time. So, Brittany, I appreciate you sharing all the stuff that you did. I know that people are going to have a breakthrough with what you shared, as long as they were listening and they weren't distracted. And, you know, if they were able to also listen between the lines at just the magnitude of what you did share, like people were like, what are you doing, like hyping it up? I'm like, well, yeah, because what you shared is like the golden key to really connecting with people. So I appreciate you coming in and sharing with everybody.
I'm very grateful. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. I appreciate the opportunity. You guys are awesome.
And can you hang with us, just hanging with us? And really quick, there's somebody that kind of asked a question. I will just say, like, there's some lack of clarity about, like, you know, is it about empower people, approaching power people? And then someone said, you know, it can be anyone, but if you want to make strides in power, then maybe. And then, okay, Tracy says, I will definitely approach at least 2 people outside of power. So that could be part of your challenge. It doesn't have to be people in power. Now, one of the questions that we wanted to answer, in our copy, if you're here at this event, is like, well, how do I find these people? And, that's what I want to say is, like, one of the easiest ways to find people is to go an event, like the one that we're talking about, an Empower Network event. And there are people actually in that room that we met that were millionaires, that weren't millionaires in Empower yet, but they had made millions somewhere else. And they were there because they love the vision and they want to connect with new people. They are there to connect. They are there to connect. So, you have the opportunity to potentially meet, really successful people, millionaires that are not just in Empower, at Empower Network events. That's how cool it is.
Yeah.
So, they're not going to be hanging out at, it's going to be a lot harder to try to scope out the millionaire at a bar or something like that. You know what I mean? So, go to an event like this and you're going to meet amazing people.
Yeah, I know 2 people that I'm going to message, like specifically, Brittany, off of the challenge list here. One of them is somebody that I've been following on social media forever, and it's Gary Vaynerchuk, right? And I know that he hangs out on Twitter all the time. So I'm going to hit him up on Twitter, and then I'm going to do the same thing with Lewis Howes, right? I don't know if people know who Lewis Howes is, but he's... And I talked to Sean, his partner Sean, but I never talked to Lewis, and he's on Instagram constantly, but he has very, very few people interacting with him there. So I'm going to hit him up on Instagram and, like, cut through the noise and be like, what's up? What's up, Lewis? I'm here. It's your boy.
It's
so
interesting
I love
you
it.
chose Gary. He's at that edge of not being accessible, but he's not like Oprah, but he's definitely, you're going to have to do something big too.
But what Gary does is he values connecting with people.
He does.
And I know that. And I know he won't ignore me even if I pester him.
We have a friend that actually connected with him and got a phone call from him.
Yep, we do.
And offered him a job.
Yep. Yeah.
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 So, really cool.
Yep. So hey, what's up? Right? Ashley, what's going on, man? You've been waiting patiently.
Very patiently.
I'm not waiting. I'm learning. I'd be sitting here listening. I just happen to be on camera. There's not really any difference. So.
Right on.
Cool. Well, guys, I wanna introduce you to Ashley and give him a big shout out. Like a lot of you guys don't know some of the cool stuff that Ashley's done recently. I'm just gonna list off some of his accolades. Right. He and his wife Jamie got with Empower. Well, I mean over a year ago now, and what's happened since then is pretty cool. Right. Ashley left his real estate job, packed everything up. I think everything's in storage now somewhere. Sold a car.
Yeah.
Everything, moved your family down to Costa Rica, right? And you guys homeschool, so you can do that, which is super, super cool, you and your wife, Jamie. And we just love you guys, ever since we met you in Austin last year at an event, right? At an event. That's where the magic happened. Just loved your energy since then. And just big shout out to you, man, because I know you've had some big breakthroughs this week. You had your first $3,000 day, right? That's huge. Who makes $3,000 in a day? That's I used to work a full month for that kind of money. Life changing, right? And then just yesterday, another $1,600 day. And like Brittany said earlier, hey, income disclosure, results are not typical, but you just got to put in the hard work, be more than average, and it's possible for you too. So you can just like go to empowernetwork.com/income if you want to check out the average income disclosure or the earnings of an affiliate, but obviously Ashley's shown that he's not, which is why we're excited to bring him out and give you the shout out, man, because you stuck with it. Now you're getting the payday. You're getting paid what you're worth for putting in, and now you get to reap what you've sown. And I mean, we're just getting started. So jump into this topic of making friends with leaders, mentors, millionaires. I know from my standpoint, when you and Jamie were just getting started, you connected with Nikki and I when we started killing it, and we still maintain a connection because I know that we got something special from you. It was just like we could always feel your gratitude, and always felt like you were always willing to give back too, right? It was that two-way street.
And and when I think about, I actually remember like when we first met Ashley, and I think it was in Austin.
Yep.
And I remember that I was fascinated by. I think you have a Mormon background, and you were like, I really love your energy stuff, and I just remember being like, like us talking about consciousness and energy, and I just love like your openness to that and your vibrance around that and your enthusiasm around that. And so I know that's been a huge like connection point for us. And you've always been cheering us on to keep going and become more successful. Mm-hmm. So that's another piece. Like if you want a mentor and you want to be friends with somebody successful, but you're secretly like resenting that they're successful, it'll never happen. It'll never happen because they'll feel it, man. We can feel that stuff from a mile away. Mm-hmm. The cool thing is everybody's a conscious being. You can change that if you've got some of that going on. Yeah. But anyway, Ashley, please.
Well, I had the question. I got a question for you. So yesterday, you had a hangout
with Lawrence Tam.
Who's a millionaire in Empower Network, right? He's one of our mentors too. Mm-hmm. So what got you on the map? What did you do that got Lawrence's attention? And like, how'd you get him to come hang out with you and do a broadcast like this with you for your email list and all that stuff?
That's a great question. And actually, if you guys were listening, if you're listening closely to Brittany, she really laid out the formula. And but I can lay it out for you here specifically because if you follow this one principle, this is the fastest, most secure, most guaranteed path that you can follow to getting any result. And we could be talking about money, but we could be talking about being a master chef. We could be talking about being a really good parent. You pick somebody that you see as getting the result that you want, and then you follow this formula specifically, and you're going to get the result. It's going to happen. So I like what you were saying a lot about energy, Nikki, because it really is about energy. And I would say that the energy is, like listening to Brittany, the energy is about giving. So if you look at, like, for example, at an event where now, like, when we hit the top 6 in the leaderboard for a contest, it was amazing to see the direction of energy from people that came at us. And it was very clear to see who was coming with an energy of give and who was coming with an energy of take. So Brittany gave a gift to Angela of just allowing her to be off for a moment and not have to be in that mode and that energy of, okay, I'm dealing with all these people who really, 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 really want to succeed. So in answer to your question, Abram, I specifically applied this exact formula to my relationship with Lawrence. And I got in there in the first place, and this is a lesson for you guys, right? Somebody brought you here to this hangout. And I met Abram and Nikki at the event, as they said, and we connected. And that's exactly what you need to do is get to the event. So someone invited you here to this hangout. What you need to do when we say get to the event, right, you write down what your mentor said to do, someone that's getting a result that you want. You write down exactly what they said to do, and then you make that the highest priority in your life. You don't blow it off, you take action on it, and then you communicate and show that person that that's what you did. So, like, for example, Abram says, get your ticket to the event. If you want to get closer to Abram, I'm saying get your ticket to the event. If you want to get closer to us, then the obvious, it's so easy. The next step is a message, not asking for help with anything, just a message that says, hey, I got my ticket to the event, right?
Yeah. I love that, Ashley.
It's not easy. It is that easy. So it's not, hey, I got my ticket to the event. I really need help with, it's just.
Yeah. That's kind of that's like the kind of stuff that I think a lot of leaders don't talk about publicly, but it's sort of a little bit of a pet peeve because, like you're saying, when we go to these events and, if we're speaking, we are giving a lot, and our energy, there's so much energy that's about pouring into people. And that piece that you said about allowing somebody to be off for a second, it's like, I get to relax for a minute, And it's like the interesting thing is is that when you don't try to like take, so there's that piece where you're giving the compliment with an alternative agenda. Like if you're like, I got my ticket, I'd really love for you to look at my blog. Like it already sets me up to be defensive. You know, I could be the most enlightened Buddha in the world. I'm not. I'm, you know, even the most enlightened person would probably be like, okay, we have to navigate this expectation now. Now I have to navigate an expectation. And it's like, if you've ever had any relationship, brother, sister, mother, and somebody puts a bunch of expectation on you before you even got together, do you really want to hang out with that person? Or are you kind of like, you feel a little bit slimed. You're like, this person's going to, you already think this person's always going to try to take more. And is anything that I give going to be enough for them? You know, and unfortunately, I've experienced that a lot. You know, the emails that we get, that's why when you do something like Brittany, when you do something like Ashley, you stand out because, you know, when we do a talk, we get a lot of messages where it's like, thank you so much. Now here's my novel of a story of how I'm struggling, how I'm broke, but I'm really inspired by you, so I'm hoping that you can give me some hope, you know? So that comes with like a lot of emotional attachment, that kind of thing. So you want to be aware of not doing that. I know it can be tempting, especially if you're like, you think you got their attention to kind of vomit your stuff, but it's actually not going to, it's not really going to get you what you want in the big picture. So thanks for like illuminating that, Ashley.
Yeah, absolutely. So from there, where do you go? And actually, Brittany, so I got a message from her saying, hey, I've been attempting to figure out this Facebook ad strategy that you teach. Here's what I've done already, right? She demonstrated that she had taken all this action. Here's where I'm stuck. If you've got time, and I just threw here's what you do, and then she said, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I think I got it. Thank you. She complimented me. Gone. She's never messaged me again, right? Mm-hmm. But she just made that connection. And then I thought, obviously said to myself, this woman gets it, right? She's going to rise because she's willing to connect with leaders in that way and on that level. And, we've talked a lot about connecting on that friend level, which is super important. And there's another level, you want a result, right? So, like you're maybe on Abram and Nikki's team. If you're here, you're actually looking at people who are living the lifestyle that you want. You're already connected, and there's massive value in just following the road that you're on, right? So if someone invited you here and they're not even on this panel, they could be. They just happen to not be. Right, that's your connection, right? So Dave Wood sent me a message saying, hey, Ashley, let's connect, because he saw Abram and Nikki give me a shout out, and he said, if Abram and Nikki like this guy, then I should be connected with him. He's in my company. And that was it.
I didn't even know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was way cool, right? And it was crazy because I was talking to Jamie, and the words out of my mouth were, when I hang out with David Wood, I'm going to ask him that. And then, my Facebook dinged, and I looked over, and I was like double take, like, wait, does that say? I'm like, look who just messaged me, babe.
That's
David Wood.
So cool.
Sweet, So, right, someone invited you in, take action, join, get your ticket to the event, and then message them and say, hey, I'm ready to take action. And then every single thing they say, take action. Because here's why, right? So myself, Brittany, Abram, and Nikki, we have figured out and learned skills of internet marketing. We've learned skills of getting people to read our content, get value from what we're giving, and then make a decision and literally pull out their credit card and buy from us and reciprocate to us for the value that we bring to the world. Mm-hmm. We know how to do that. So we keep doing that. And the next level for all of us is helping other people to accomplish that. So if you want to give something back to us as leaders, then give a result that you accomplished based on advice that we gave you. That's what your communication back to us should be. And that's what Brittany's doing. That's specifically exactly what I did. So in a group, like Lawrence Tam said to read this book called Scientific Advertising, right? I wrote it down. I went and got it for free. I started reading it, and then I didn't ask him any questions like, hey, I'm reading this book. It was written in 1926. How do I apply this to today's technology? I'm going to create a result specifically based on this book that he recommended. And that's what I did. I went out and the book says to be really clear on your numbers. And I had other people in my ear saying, hey, if you keep your ads under $1, you're awesome, right? And I was just running with that. And I start reading this book, and it says, well, get a little bit more clear, get a little more dialed in. So that's what I did. So then I showed Lawrence, like, hey, you gave me this book. You gave us this book to read. Here's a result I created based on this book. Didn't ask him for a thing, right? You just acknowledged that had happened. On the
it's like a breath of fresh air to a mentor. You're like waiting for they're not asking me for anything.
Oh my God,
Hallelujah!
somebody went and did what I told them to do.
Right. Oh my God, it's amazing. You're like, and you really, truly, you do stand out, And so, like, that's really cool. And can I just, because I know we got to wrap up here, and I do want to speak to what stands out when you talk about all this, and from you and Brittany, what I'm seeing is, like, a lot of times we think that, because we've said, hey, if you want our attention, get a result. It doesn't necessarily have to be like, well, I made $5,000 this month. It could be, hey, I just bought my ticket to New Orleans and I'm making that commitment. It could be, I just read this book that you suggested. I just did the meditation you asked me to, and here's my result. It's like those kind of things start to cultivate a connection. And as you can see, the events pay in dividends and long term. Because Ashley, we met in Austin, and if we hadn't met that
January of last
year, we would not be sitting here on this hangout right now. You would not be sharing the enormous value that you're sharing right now. And who knows what else we're going to create together. Like, I know one of the things we're looking at creating is doing some sort of, team retreat and really bringing everybody into, kind of a luxury home experience for us to really be able to, taste and feel what it's like to live in the home of a millionaire. And some beautiful location, and it's like I could totally see you being a part of that. You know what I mean? And it's like we wouldn't have been able to create that connection quite in the same way, or maybe not at all, had it not been for these events. So it's like, you can sit at home and work and work and work, and maybe you will be able to on your own make $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, and you'll start to get it's more attention. Or you can come to the event, and it's the shortcut. It's the shortcut, because as you see, Brittany is new. She's like, I'm new to this. I haven't really made any money yet, but look at what's occurring in my life and the support that I'm getting from these leaders, which is something that I hadn't heard about, So I was very impressed by that. I'm very impressed by both of you right now, actually, and I don't know what else do we want to say, or do we want to wrap it up, Abram?
Well, I think just a couple closing thoughts, and I feel like Ashley, you might have it feels like you might have one more thing.
Actually, you're spot on.
Yeah. So well, yeah. How about you give us that one more Actually, you know what? No, here's what. Ashley's got one more thing, right? But what you need to do right now is, if you're not in yet, click the link below this video. Click the button below this video. Take out your credit card, put your information in, and get started. Right? Get started, because, like Ashley said, that's one of the easiest ways that you can reciprocate with us, that you've gotten some value today. Right? If you're already in, and we've told you a million times, this is what it takes to create your dream. And maybe you've been resisting. You're like, well, I know you told me that I should get the Viral Blogging Academy, but I don't want to for this reason, this reason, this reason, or this reason. Oh, there's a flavor of the week. That's my flavor, and I'm choosing it. It's like, well, there's a reason like we're not paying attention anymore. Is because you're still not doing what it takes, right? Especially when you say, I want X result, and then we tell you what it takes to get X result, whether it's investing more or taking this action or this action, and then you don't do it. And you wonder, well, why am I not getting the guidance that I'm not getting? This points to exactly what Ashley was talking about, right? Your golden ticket to infinite mentorship, right, is just to do what other people are telling you to do that have the result that you're looking for, right, that have the result that you're looking for. So it's like if you're looking to be successful and make money on the internet and create a part-time income from home, and we're telling you to click the button below and get started, or we're telling you, like, well, you want to reach X amount of dollars a month, you're going to have to own some of these products and learn some of the skill sets, and you're not doing it, you know, and it's like you're not going to the events, and you're not showing that you really, really want it, right? And there's other people that are lined up at the events, right? Like Nikki talked about, they were literally like almost like mauling us like zombies, trying to pull us off of like the stage. Ashley was there in Miami. It's like we couldn't even get off the stage because people were like already asking for pictures and already asking for questions, and it's like
I couldn't find my purse. Like I was,
right.
It was really crazy.
There was a line of people waiting, right? And it's like if you're not doing what it takes, we're gonna go to the next person down the line, hoping, praying that it'll be somebody that takes action and does what we ask them to do. It's like Brittany does it all the time. She's asked me a few times for stuff, and I say, okay, well, here, go do this. And she goes, okay, I did it. And I'm like, sweet, all right, here's the next step. Ashley does the same thing, right? We had like a 2-hour hangout with Ashley a couple weeks ago. Why? Because he's doing it, you know? And then when he doesn't do it, he comes back and he goes, okay, I was being a little silly, and I didn't do what you said, but I'm going to do it now, right? I'm going to do it now. And I think you did that, right? And then, like, boom, you got like 3 new people that joined your organization after making those adjustments, the things that we recommended that you do, right? It's like that's how the process works.
And it takes setting aside, you know, your ego. And when your ego does come up or those blocks, you're willing, you know, it's like Ashley, you know, it's like we all have our own stuff in our head where we think we, you know something, or no, well, I think I should do it this way, and then it turns out not to work. You have to be able to be honest enough with yourself and want your result more than you want to maintain your rightness. You know, it's like, would you rather be right or would you rather be rich? You know, so you know that's another thing. It's like I know there's people who have talked about. You know, it's interesting when you say, well, find someone who has a result that you want. And I think that there's a range of that I recommend for people as they're doing the challenge that Brittany recommended. Give yourself a spectrum, because I think some people might even think, well, I'm not going to listen to Abram and Nikki because they've only made about $250,000, and you know they're no Lawrence Tam, you know they haven't made $1 million yet, you know, or I'm not going to listen to Lawrence because there's this other guy that made $5 million, you know, and it's like. Well, have you made more money than any of those people, you know, in a month with what you want to, you know, like for example.
On the internet.
On the internet, you know, have you made $10K in a month? Have you made $40K in a month? Have you made $20K in a month? You know, so when it comes to like that person having a result that you want, have you made a sale yet? Have you had a member join yet? If you find somebody that has had some people sign up, you might want to consider them and not just write them off because they're not like your mega star mentor or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's another thing, because I think that's where ego can get in the way. And when we create that separation from us and more successful people, or we feel inferior, we actually sometimes, to disguise that, create a superiority within ourselves and a sort of comparison with it. They might be this, but they don't know that. That kind of thing. And that's not going to get you. You can have that if you want. It ain't going to get you rich. It ain't going to get you rich being an entrepreneur, that's for sure. And with internet marketing, maybe you have to go find something else.
Yeah. So that being said, Ashley, wrap it up, brother. Whatever you got to say, close this mother down. And
our dog has to go.
Our dog has to pee again. Right? He's got a bladder that needs attention. right? So whatever you guys say, brother, close it down, wrap this thing up in a nice little bow for us. I know you have another gold nugget, so let it rip, man.
Yeah, I just want to let everyone know that's watching this that we love you. Right now, if you were to ask me, what do I want right now? I want for all of humanity to move from the competitive mode, the competitive mind frame that's governed humanity and society, into the creative mode. And we're at the point where we can do that right now. And what that means is all of us working together to lift ourselves up to the level, to live our life the best that we can, to live by our purpose, to live by the things that make us happy, right? It's written inside of us internally, physiologically, what it is that makes each and every one of us happy. But we've grown up in society where your education was kind of like you sit in front of a teacher and it's like, hey teacher, I don't get this. Come over to my desk and help me. You know what I mean? And then you go into a job and the same thing kind of keeps going. This is about apprenticeship. So, and this is how it's always been in humanity. You find someone who is getting a result. You think about like a martial arts, right? Your martial arts teacher. You expect them to make you stretch. So to wrap this up, this concept here is it's so simple and it's so clear to you right now. What you're going to have to do is some stuff that's painful. Where you're at right now, you may look at your bank account and you may say, well, I can't go to the event because whatever reason. And you got a decision to make to do something that stretches you to a level that brings you up where we can actually lock arms with you and help you to rise. If you're trying to hold on to where you're at and grab our hand, it's not going to work, right? So what you need to do is just take action. So that means getting all the products. That was a huge turning point for me, was when I just decided I would get all in. It was painful. It's a huge stretch for me to throw down $3,500. And at that moment, I had to make a decision as to not only if I believed in myself, and some of you will get this, exactly what I mean. I had to decide if I really trusted this universe, if I really trusted reality, that I could throw down money, that I could give myself to this completely and trust this as my path, and come out the other end after everything I've gone through and be a new person, be the leader, be the one that people are actually inspired by, be the one that people are messaging and saying, you inspired me to take action. And so that's what I did. And that's our invitation to you, simply, is to rise. And that's your nature. Rise with us and just take action. And what that requires is you taking your life, your time, your energy, your focus, which translates into money, taking that and taking action with that, giving of yourself, reciprocating, and then joining us at the event. So we obviously expect some of you are going to take this, you watched this whole thing, and some of you are going to send us a message saying you bought your event ticket, that you're in, that you're all in, and some of you aren't. It's just the reality. And we just want you all to know that we love you. Those of you who just took action, congratulations. You've got a huge adventure ahead of you, and we're excited to be a part of that with you.
Peace out, my friends. Thanks for joining us today.
Bye, guys.